This is my dream. I was lying in bed. My room looked completely different from real life, but I could feel the blankets and the warmth and the pillow under my head. I was very tired, and I also wanted to go on an adventure. So logically, I was like, I'll just have an exciting dream. That way I'll still rest, but my mind will be engaged. So I closed my eyes in my dream and was able to envision myself climbing out of the window and walking around the building. I was pushing a large container of some kind. It was on wheels, and I was pushing it with my arms bent at 90 degrees, so it was fairly large, like the size of those willable laundry baskets. It was all enclosed and had a texture more like a suitcase with buckles and straps and zippers. As I walked, I remembered that I had left the light on, and I didn't want to accidentally interrupt this dream. So I paused, forced my dream self back to the bed scene. I opened my eyes. It was all still dream. Dreamception! I clicked off the light and settled back into my bed to continue my mental adventure. I was able to once again open my eyes to the outside and the payload. The ground was very pale dirt, stamped down from a lot of foot travel, and the sun was bright, washing all the colors out with the brightness. A vehicle passed me from behind, and my mind told me, "You're not supposed to be seen with the container." So I quickly pushed it to the side next to some other objects set into the ground. I think they were utility boxes. In my mind, I disguised the container I was pushing, since at that point I still realized roughly that I was dreaming, so I had some control over what I did. It turned into a mini steam locomotive. I thought, that'll work, and then went and sat on top of a separate, larger utility box. Apparently, this was a space military training camp, and my peers were working hard. But I knew somehow that though I wanted to belong, my peers didn't like me, and so I was left out a lot in the training and resorted to sneaking around. I passed between building rooftops and watched as they trained, each one strong and had a lot of stamina and endurance. I could shapeshift to make the sneaking easier, but as I was on top of the restroom building that looked like a large purple tent with at least 2 spires, maybe 3, I got spotted. Someone called me down and I had to obey. I was berated a little by the teacher, but they also understood the situation I was in with my peers, not really accepting me. She encouraged me to sit with my peers and chat, so I did. I was able to show off my shapeshifting, which they all thought was very cool and lessened their judgment of me, but not completely. Later, as we were sitting in an instruction session, I had shown off so much with my shapeshifting I was exhausted and started to fall asleep. My classmates quickly shifted to judge me again, and the fact that I couldn't even stay awake for this. I had to remind myself that I was not used to doing so much in one day. Of course my body is going to be tired. Once my teacher noticed as well, they were understanding, although a little bit miffed, as they realized that I would need more time to catch up to where the others were. But she called for a break so I could rest, and then they would get back into it once I could think clearer and pay attention. There was also a map of the world. We needed to cover every continent. The one we were working on was Antarctica, or an equivalent, because the map did not look like the world I knew. But I knew this particular continent was at the bottom of the world. It did have plant life, though, and lakes, as well as snow. It probably looked more like Alaska than Antarctica, but I've never been to either, so I only know from pictures and videos. I was talking to the teacher to determine where my schooling had left off. What was the last thing I learned about? And then we would figure out what to focus on from there. The next spot of geography on the map was supposed to be some island. I didn't know what it was called, and I didn't recognize its shape or anything. After that, I took a bathroom break, and my little sister, who suddenly appeared, but was also one of my classmates, I guess? She didn't want to leave me alone. She was asking me all sorts of questions, and I just wanted to use the bathroom in peace. That is where my dream ended. The scene that I was drawing was from when I was jumping from roof to roof to watch my peers on the training ground. But just before I jumped to the purple tent. Thanks for watching!